One of your favorite stars to ever play Superman, Dean Cain, is weighing in on the woke issues of James Gunn and 2025's Superman movie. Today, we'll tell you what he's saying, as well as how the legacy, drive-by, lamestream dinosaur media is once again twisting his words for clicks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we continue to give you the truth with a capital T served up on a platter each and every day. Thank you for tuning in to the chatter. As we get ready, click the like button and let's dive in right now. All right, out of the Rolling Stone, we told you this was going to happen, and now it has. We are getting the pushback against James Gunn, and Variety wanted it to be this way. We're going to tell you what we think about it. This is the Rolling Stone, Emily Zimler. Of course, we don't believe that Rolling Stone is a bastion of virtue, but we'll read what we have to. Former Superman. No, he's always Superman. Superman Dean Cain says Hollywood has made the character too woke. Quote, I think that was a mistake by James Gunn to say it's an immigrant thing. I think it's going to hurt the numbers on the movie, the actor said in a new interview. Let's dive in and we'll give our thoughts on this. Dean Cain is not a fan of the direction Hollywood is taking Superman. The actor who played the superhero on Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman from 93 to 97, said he is concerned about James Gunn's vision for the character. Quote, how woke is Hollywood going to make this character, he said in a video interview with TMZ. How much is Disney going to change their Snow White? Why are they going to change these characters to exist for the times? For Superman, it was truth, justice, and the American way. Well, they dropped that. They came up with truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. Now, that was the older one. Changing beloved characters, I don't think it's a great idea. He added, the American way is immigrant-friendly, tremendously immigrant-friendly, but there are rules. You can't come and say, now I want to get rid of all the rules in America because I want it to be more like Somalia. Well, that doesn't work because you had to leave Somalia to come here. There have to be limits because we can't have everybody in the United States. We can't have everybody. Society will fail. So there has to be some limits. Now, this gets us into that issue that we talked about. It was going to happen, right? James Gunn has made some mistakes, but the big thing that happened is Variety decided that no matter what, they were going to turn this into a political issue. His brother, Sean Gunn, certainly did not help with the effort. And now, Dean Cain, the best Superman, folks, you can say definitively outside of Reeve, and I know some of you out there say Cavill, but he's Dean Cain, darn it, we love him. He is now raining down truth bombs when it comes to the wokeification of your favorite characters. All right, Vash, this is a tough one because we predicted this was going to happen. We said that people were going to say this, and I don't know if James Gunn, I hate to defend the guy, I don't know if he deserves it this time. I feel like Dean is responding to somewhat of a manufactured crisis from Variety, but there's plenty of blame to go over to DC, to James Gunn, and to Sean Gunn for doing this. What say you, Vash?
I think your assessment is spot on right there. I think Dean Cain, unfortunately, might have been caught up in what the media has been spitting and putting out right there, and that's most unfortunate. I think the intention from the media is to mislead on this front right here for whatever the reason might actually be, in order to sink this film's prospects. This is why, the Variety interview or whatever, MAGA says this, and now MAGA's out and up in an uproar about this whole thing. They really are pushing this for some, I don't know, advantage of some kind right here. There's no other way to go about it. And I think Dean might be, maybe not looking at this situation as closely as maybe you or I are, and simply just doesn't have the knowledge connected to what is actually really taking place here. And that is most unfortunate. I don't blame Dean at all in that particular case, because I think the media does a very fine job in twisting these things to the degree that they have in this case.
Well, what if I told you, Vash, I think they're twisting ever more? What if I told you, I think I've got this thing figured out? And I don't think Dean Cain was actually taking on the lies that were spread by Variety. I think it's more lies. Can I show you what I think is happening here?
Please.
Rolling Stone needs to get viewers. Variety needs to get viewers, and they need a controversy. So let me walk you through this again. After the Variety article, which was all about, trying to make this be an anti-MAGA movie, Emily Zimler releases this article, and the subtext here is, I think that was a mistake by James Gunn to say it's an immigrant thing. I think it's going to hurt the numbers on the movie. That was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, right? I think that Dean Cain talked to TMZ, and we can get this later on, but I think he spoke with TMZ actually before this latest thing landed. And I think that Rolling Stone took a prior interview where he's talking about immigration and Snow White. I think Rolling Stone went back and then tried to connect this ostensibly to the Variety thing to continue to piggyback and make up an entire load of nonsense. This is how, folks, this is how the legacy media works. This is what Kevin, you don't seem to like that. You don't like the legacy media and their slimy, stinky tactics. What do you think about it?
Oh no, it's dirty pool, to put it nicely. They're trying to gin up issues where there are none, and some of this I do believe is to cause pain for David Zaslav. We talk about TDS, but the ZDS is also out of control on the Hollywood side. So yes, has James Gunn had a rather spicy past with his opinions? Do I think that his brother is probably espousing some of James's opinions, but thankfully James decided to play it cool. Absolutely. But do I think Variety and Rolling Stone, and I don't know anybody who's given Rolling Stone an ounce of credit since they decided to try to make the Boston Bombers sexy and empathetic. Well, these are dying, these are dying outlets that are just desperate for attention. And if they can't get it the good way, they'll do what they can to get negative attention. And it's just raking people through the mud. It's disgusting.
Yep. And I've got the evidence for this. Let me show you folks what I think is going on here. Okay. They're again, remember, what is the legacy media trying to do? They're trying with everything they have to turn this into a MAGA moment movie. Even despite the fact that the people, the people who voted for Trump seem to be split on the movie. Some people like it, some people don't. They don't care. They're trying to find a way to make that be what this movie is about. And I believe to get back at Zaslav. So let me show you the timeline. Okay? Going to the TMZ article that the Rolling Stone is referencing. July 9th at 1 a.m. Pacific time is when this came out, which means that basically this is a July 8th story. Okay, whatever they came up with had to have happened July 7th or July 8th. Superman OG Dean Cain, James Gunn's immigration soapbox is fan kryptonite, but I'll see it. And he goes on to talk about the immigration issue that was brought up and talks about how it was a semantic faux pas, a major mistake by James Gunn, but he's still going to go see the movie. But again, this has to have happened based on the timeline before the red carpet stuff, which is where we got the MAGA, kind of issue. And now Rolling Stone comes out and tries to conflate them. Jonas, you got to hate them. They're constantly trying to find a new way to do another hoax. And I hope that this is a definitive way of slamming them to the ground and saying, stop it. We know you hate David Zaslav. We know it. We know you're willing to sacrifice Superman and James Gunn and all that. Stop it. Just stop it. You're even trying to pull Dean Cain in when he's talking about something totally different.
When it comes down to it, I think that Hollywood is trying to market to a different culture than they realize that they're trying to market to. There's a reason that they call the Midwest flyover country here. It's ignored culturally or maligned culturally. Every now and then you'll get, Montana's kind of the West there. So, the closest you'll get is over there, or there'll literally be shows that are mocking the fact that they consider the Midwest to be the middle of nowhere, like the show The Middle, set in the Midwest, or what movie was it? Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. He's supposed to come from nowhere. Where does he come from? I think he comes from Indiana in that one. Or Parks and Rec is the same thing. It's supposed to be middle of nowhere, and it's in Pawnee. It's supposed to be another Midwestern place here. So when you have these trades are just kind of really showing their hand and
they're desperate, Jonas. Off. They're desperate.
So they're trying to market to what they think the market is for a movie like this. But in order for a movie to be a 4-quadrant movie, it has to have universal themes. I'm trying to think of the last full-on success that you know, and we say get woke, go broke. That's kind of there are some exceptions to that. Obviously, Barbie was woke, but it was appealing to a female audience, and there's a little bit of femininity in the wokeness there. I think that this is something where they don't understand that universal means not just that you're trying to market to foreign markets, but you also need to market to the United States itself. Why are they spending all this money to try to market to some country over in Europe that has a population that's not the size of a single American state, when there's an entire swath of the country that will be offended? Pro and you and I having a conversation about a sensitivity reader that we were made aware of. And we got to talk to somebody, I got to talk to somebody who works with a sensitivity reader. And that sensitivity reader was going through and saying, oh, well, when you work on this character, it's going to be offensive into this segment of people, completely discounting the fact that making that change also offends the opposite side of the market as well. So when James Gunn says Superman is an immigrant story, that makes it sound like he's going political. When James Gunn said, yes, it's political, but the headline is going to be, it's political. So no one wants to see a Superman movie that is about politics. They want to see a Superman movie that is about a hero coming to save people from evil. And if you make a story that has a clear evil in it, politics, then you are very much in politics. That's what people have heard. Doesn't matter what's in the movie. I'm not seeing it until tonight. It matters that the audience thinks it's political. So I'm with Dean Cain on this one, even if he doesn't have the nuance on everything.
I think that's what Dean Cain was definitely referring to. It's just like general, politics being featured here, not good for the movie. And I think that's most appropriate. But connecting these comments to recent controversies in the way that they have, that's very disingenuous indeed.
Well, yeah, and so this is what they have to do now. They have to do this to get the clicks. And the thing about it is, as we're watching this play out, it's not that we're saying that Dean Cain and James Gunn would agree. We would never say that. We would never say that they agree with each other on political issues. What we're saying is that the legacy media types are so dirty that they're hopping in here and trying to twist the words yet again in the same way they did with Variety, where they did the ... and they used that to connect something to James Gunn that simply wasn't there. We're not James Gunn defenders. No. Except when people do him dirty. And we're not trying to defend, Dean Cain from what he said, except that they seem to be having him answer to something that didn't exist at the time he did the interview. No, and it's another case of the legacy media twisting. Go ahead, Jonas.
No, the ongoing theme of this channel is when the media says something that is propaganda, we're going to point it out. And if James Gunn happens to be a victim of that propaganda, okay, well, he caught whatever the opposite of catching strays is when we say that Variety is manipulating what he's saying. The point of this is the constant exercise here is media literacy. And we constantly go back to Variety and other outlets like them and how are they twisting the narrative, whether or not that happens to benefit James Gunn for one news cycle when we point out what Variety is up to. James Gunn is James Gunn. We all understand what he is here. Variety is the one that we want to point at and say, hey, you all understand what they're doing here, correct? That's the point. Absolutely.
And what I would say too is, this is not about James Gunn. This is not about Dean Cain. This is about David Zaslav. This is about hurting him because there's nothing that the Variety and the legacy news like Rolling Stone, there's nothing they can do to dislodge David Zaslav like hurting Superman. If you want to get rid of Zaslav, this is their moment. And they are craven in their desire to create drama and controversy and political madness where it does not exist. We're not here to defend anybody who doesn't deserve defending, but we are here to tell you what's really going on. It's the Zaslav takedown attempt. Kevin, am I wrong there? Or is that's what it's about?
You are spot on. You're spot on. I get it. No one likes the new boss, especially when the old boss lets you kind of do whatever it is you wanted to do. But the fact of the matter is the WB has been struggling, not recently, but for decades. They have only survived by the virtue of whatever sugar daddy was available to pump money into their coffers. And then once they went over to AT&T, which frankly I don't understand how no one has been taken to court yet. Through due diligence, Zaslav, the Discovery takes over. They start checking the books, and they realize that the WB is worth less than zero. You're mad at the guy for, well, I'm assuming this all really started because of Batgirl. He said, we don't do woke anymore. We're here to make money, and they have never forgiven him for it. But at the end of the day, this is a man who knows how to make money. He took the Discovery Channel, from being essentially a freak channel, and turned it into a dynamo, and actually made it one of the actual few successful apps out there. People love that. People just love that app. Then he gets the WB, and he's trying to keep it alive, and they want to punish him for it, and they'll do whatever it takes. It's just funny to watch this happening in two places at the same time, to two people in two different worlds, but they keep insisting on finding a way to bridge the gap between those two worlds, and want to pretend like nobody notices or sees it.
Absolutely. And secret for everybody out there, I don't think that David Zaslav is a conservative. So they're not coming after him because he's a conservative. They're going after him because he's a moderate Democrat. And that's not allowed in Hollywood. You can't be a centrist. And that's why they can't have Gina. And they are doubling down, they are tripling down on making sure that the purity test prevents anybody anywhere center of left from being involved in this industry, even as the market speaks clearly. I agree with everything that Dean Cain said. I agree with the wokeification in terms of it being a bad idea for Superman and Snow White. And yet at the same time, I can say this is a manufactured controversy because they're trying to connect it to something that hadn't happened at the time that Dean Cain did the interview. Jonas, go ahead, Vash.
I was going to say, I don't blame anybody for buying into what the media is actually putting out and reacting to that thusly, because, obviously there's information that is being manipulated in order to elicit a reaction. So I don't fault anybody for buying into it. It's just understand what's really happening, folks. It's vitally important to stay ahead of this culture curve right here. Go ahead, Kevin.
I was saying, the worst part is, listen, there's a slight justification for it, because this woke nonsense has been deeply rooted in DC proper, especially through the Superman titles. They've been bending over backwards. And listen, we've had a year of DC talent, from writers to editors to artists, screaming about how Superman's woke and anything under the sun. So it's just more garbage to throw into the cauldron that produces the ether that gets everybody confused. It's a shame. It's a shame. I know people are kind of torn on this movie, but at the end of the day, this movie has to be successful if you want to see DC Comics existing in 2 years.
Well, and let's also say, too, they don't care if it's a good or bad movie.
Yeah.
Right? The audience does. We do. The legacy media and the institutionalists, the elitists, they don't care. They call themselves elite. We know they're not. They don't care. What they care about is stop Zaslav. Don't let his plan of neutrality work. And they're willing to sacrifice the entire superhero genre, which has subsidized so much of the suck in Hollywood for the past decade. They're willing to tank the superhero genre, because there's no guarantee that Fantastic Four or Avengers Doomsday will succeed. And if they don't, this thing's wrapping up. So Superman is one of 3 films that has to have a blockbuster blowout success. They'll tank it to take out Zaslav. Jonas, final word, please.
No, I just think this is yet another story another page in the story of trying to say that Hollywood needs to get their brain on straight. They need to have public relations and marketing people that actually have their finger on the pulse of America, not just the coasts. They need to know what normal people like. And until they are willing to accept that some people will disagree with them, may even vote for a different candidate than the one they want people publicly admitting to, they will never be able to appeal to the entire part of the United States. They'd rather accept a different country than they would portions of the United States that they don't like, even if that country would find the tallest building and throw them off of it.
Yes,
if they actually voiced all of their viewpoints. This is why the world needs a Superman. This is because there is actual evil in the world, and they're just ignoring it because they would rather say, well, the people who vote differently than us, that's the real evil in the world.
And folks, as we wrap this up, I'll say this. If James Gunn is so fortunate to have a Superman 2 in 2027 or 2028 or whatever it might be, Dean Cain would make a great consultant on the film to help them get it right and make it a movie that people can enjoy all across the country and perhaps bring it back down to the ground that apparently the movie so badly needs. Well, folks, we've come to the end of another video of pure excellence and fun. Explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve, that's what we hope you believe we've just done. And why should you believe it? Well, because we've done our very best to make it so. To be true, to be factual, and to do what the mainstream so-called access journalists simply won't. Folks, you can help share this out across the fruited plains of YouTube by clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we get ready to say sayonara for now, we ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep having fun.
Jump into the water!
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun.
Want it all, so I give them cannonball. Yeah!
Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio.
Arizona. Pineapple pizza, Hawaiian ice freeze, yeah. Can't wait to be up. 3 days of you and me.
What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.